Welcome to The Best Is Yet to Come, a interview series of inspiration, wisdom, and warm conversations with people who follow their heart and share something meaningful with the world.
There we go.
Hi and warm welcome to the Best Is Yet to Come series. This is the first episode that I am so delighted to do with a very special person with me that I get to interview. And I want to say to you, Alan, that I'm so happy to have you here. I'm going to introduce you a little bit better with your full name, but I want to say that 8 years ago, I
Mm,
reached out to you after seeing you on YouTube and
mm,
then resonating with your energy. I loved the episode I heard. I was like, who is this man? And I looked into you a little bit more, found out that you had books written, and I loved the topics. I was like, oh, I want to reach out to him. I sent you an email, and to my surprise, you replied to it. And then one thing led to another, and you became my support person, my counselor, my mentor in a year when I really needed one.
mhm,
And quite a full circle moment because I did not have any YouTube channel. I wasn't even on social media. And
mm.
now here we are.
Wow.
So, very warm welcome,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Alan Hunter.
Thank you. That was a lovely welcome. Thank you, Sana, so much. And it's such a delight to see you here doing YouTubes and getting your word out to the world, which really needs to hear it. You call your book "The Best Is Yet to Come," and yes, I think people need to hear this very optimistic message that you are putting out, that I'm trying to put out too, that yes, things may be a little sticky right at this moment, but things can get better if we take the right attitude and the right actions. So that's what I've been spending most of my life doing with people, working with them, counseling them, using writing, using literature, using drawing as adjuncts to this whole process of how we can redirect our lives into, um, shall we say, productive directions. So thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I am so happy that you are here and you are part of the best is yet to come because, like you were
Mhm.
mentioning, through all your work, you are doing such an amazing, you have been doing such an
Mm.
amazing work and such a big difference to the world. And I would love for you to, and you definitely helped me. Like, I mean, I was just expressing my dream of expressing myself through writing. Back then, I had not done anything or being on social media. So you were the one who inspired me that, hey, go for
Mm.
it. So
Oh.
thank you very much for
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm very happy to hear that. Perhaps, if I may, this is going around my mind as I think about it. I'll tell you a little story about how we redirect our energies when we're in a stuck place. It's a very old story. It's about me. And that is when I was at school about the age of 12, 11, something like that, we had to learn Latin. Now, my older brother had told me Latin is terrible. You're going to hate it. And I went into the classes with this point of view. And I didn't do very well. And unfortunately, I had a teacher who would always tell me in my homework, he would always tell me, it was big red pen through my work, he would tell me what I had done wrong. He never told me what I had done right. So I focused my whole attention on avoiding doing the wrong thing. And in the process, I sort of shrank myself down. I sat at the back of the class. Now, luckily, he only taught me for a year. It was a terrible, disastrous year in Latin. The next year, I had a different teacher who liked to focus on what I'd done right. And suddenly I thought, oh, mistakes don't matter. What matters is trying things out and learning from them. You see, completely different mind shift. And I noticed that instead of being like this in class, I was like this. I was really happy. I was really happy. And it became, if not my favorite class, it became one of the classes that I really enjoyed. Now, that's a silly story, except I see people doing this to themselves every day at every level of life. Doesn't matter if they're 75 years old and trying to write something, or if they're 20 years old and feel stuck. They focus on playing safe, on not making mistakes. So uh, that is what cripples us, trying hard to do the right thing by someone else's standards that we don't quite understand. And that cripples us, which is why I'm so happy that you have taken the steps you have. You went forward boldly. You said, "Ah, I don't really know how to do this, this, and this, but I can find out. I can learn. I can experiment. I can ask people for help and get help." And that is what many, many, many people in my experience don't do. They don't ask. They don't expect. They go sort of down into despair. Both you and me, we look to move people out of despair and into something better.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm,
Really inspiring and so powerful
mm,
story, but also, like you said, something that happens all the time for us to
mm,
remember. And I love that you had that both sides of it, and that
mm,
the shift can happen like
mm,
instantly to understand that the good is always there and the impact of the right guide to and the person to be surrounded by that, that it makes all the difference to
yes.
have that positivity
Mm,
and right people. And that's why, going back to you, that, it was so, for me, uplifting to get
mm,
that help and support, because you were basically within that 1 year, you were my confidant in that way, that I knew that even if you were on the other side of the world, I had someone I could share a little bit the beginning of that, igniting that dream. And I didn't
mm,
even understand what was in there, but you were so positive and had this like yeses, like, it's so important that
mm.
we have that encouragement and support.
Yes, yes,
Um,
absolutely. We all need people who believe in us to get us moving the right way. Eventually, we won't need those people quite so much. We find our own way, we build our own confidence. And when we're confident in what we're doing, something very wonderful happens, and that is we discover the true creative core, which is at the center of us. We discover that we can create stuff which was never thought of before, perhaps. We can do it our way, not the way someone else tells us. This is the way you do it. All those books in the bookstore saying the way to do whatever it is, everything from mountain climbing to shoe repair, presumably. This is the way you do it. Well, that's great. But there comes a point when, if we're living in life as opposed to making things or whatever, we have to contact that strong sense of creativity. And it's the creativity that is going to build our soul, if you like, build our world in a new way. So, this is what we need. And creativity, it's not valued in the outside world very much. They send us to school and do it this way. They send us to university and you have to do it this way. And this is the exam. And you have to... And so creativity gets smushed very, very easily. And that's actually a recipe for very sad people. Although they may become very successful in an objective sense of getting money, it will be sad.
Absolutely. And you touch upon such a important topic. It's so
Mm.
close to my heart, creativity.
Mhm.
And I agree with you that in schools, it's not, it is emphasized, but it's not implemented, or it's not
Not implemented.
encouraged in a way
Not
where
at all. Yeah,
to
yeah.
do your own thing. It's very
Mhm.
much follow these frameworks and the grading and everything
Mhm.
that
Yep.
it takes
Homeworks and
away that.
grading. Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
What do
yeah.
you think, Alan, is
Mm.
one fear that holds a person back from going outside the lines and just exploring their creativity?
Oh, well, this goes for both individuals as they grow up and for the school systems into which they move. And that is, certainly in this country, the United States, people are always assessing. There are always tests. You have to pass the test, you have to pass the test, you have to pass the test, as if we all grew and developed at the same rate, which we don't. And so there is this cautiousness, there is this judging. And if one judges a child, that child will take that judgment and put it in his or her soul and believe that judgment. You're not good at this. Okay, I'm not good at this. That's not very helpful. I had a lot of that at school. Um, and there is no room, there is no opportunity to experiment. So again, I'll tell you another story. I was talking with went to an art show actually. It was very interesting, and the artist was there, and I said, "Oh, how's the world?" And she said, "Oh, well, I have to do my art in my spare time because I teach art at a school." I said, "Oh, how wonderful!" I said, "How is it?" Because the schools are cutting back on the amount of art they allow teachers to teach. The time frame is getting smaller and smaller. I said, "How do you defend your position when people ask you, what value is art to my little child?" And she says, "Oh, it's simple." She says, "I teach," she says, "I tell them that what I'm teaching is problem solving." And I thought, what an interesting reply. And then I thought about it a little more and I thought, well, what is, she was a drawing teacher, basically. So what is drawing? Well, you have an object, and the problem is, how am I going to put that object onto paper so that someone else can understand that it is, in fact, a lamp or a car or a person? How do I do that? That's a problem. How do I solve it? My way. My way of doing it might not be the same as, Mildred's way of doing it or Freddie's way of doing it. How do I do that? It's a problem that only I can wrestle with myself. And I thought, how wonderful, because when we get into the big world of work, there will be problems. And we have to ask ourselves, how am I going to solve this problem? We can't go to a book and say, well, this problem is solved by, because that situation might not be exactly the same. How do I solve a problem? Art, reading, literature, anything that asks us to engage our imaginations and our creativity gives us bigger opportunities for looking at it and saying, is this really a problem in the way I think it is, or is it a problem? uh, this is problem solving. This is valuable, whether you're in a relationship with someone, or you're running a company, or you're raising children. There are problems. How are you going to solve it? And the worst way to do that is to go by the rule book. When I worked with some disturbed kids, there were strict rules in the establishment about what you could do and what you couldn't do, at certain. And I talked to them and I said, well, which members of the staff, I was a member of staff, which members of staff are the ones that you get on with best? And they all said, oh, Dave. Dave's the guy. I said, oh, why is that? And they said, he knows how to bend the rules so you can do something. Yeah, he knows how to bend the rules so you can do something the way you need to do it. And I thought, brilliant. Yeah, here's this scruffy little kid, age 15 or whatever, telling me exactly what it was that made her life better. And I took that lesson. It took me a long time to really learn it and said, yes, it has to be, there have to be boundaries, there have to be some rules, but also you have to know when to do it creatively. And actually, Dave was a master at this. I wish he was still in my neighborhood so I could see him every day and just catch up with him. But he's in England and I'm in the United States. So creativity is fostered or it dies. And I think many of our schools, not to say that there aren't some excellent schools, but many of our schools here in the United States are much better at killing creativity than they are at making it. So, what do I mean by that? Many of the people I taught as undergrads, as students, and some postgrads as well, they had fixed in their minds that they were going to get their degree and then they were going to go out and get a job where there was a structure and a pension plan and a health plan, and they were going to get a job and they were going to follow the rules. And I thought, I understand that desire. It comes out of fear. We all want to get a job and we all want to do well. So, but the students who did best were the ones who were maybe not very easy to deal with in class because they went off and they created their own businesses, their own companies, and they networked with each other. And I looked at them and said, he was really a dunce in my class, but he's a genius at running his whatever it is business. How great is that? And I realized that if I was stuck too much to the rules um, when teaching them, I was in danger of hurting their genius. So when we say the best is yet to come, in their cases, it certainly was. They went off and they've made really quite impressive lives for themselves, which if I had been asked to assess them and give them, valuation at graduation, I'd have said, well, he's not very good at this, this, and this, instead of realizing that because there was more than one, that's for sure, that they were really, really good at something else. So I hope that example helps.
Absolutely. And I think it's beautiful that you named it because I think one thing that I noticed about creativity specifically that many narrow it down to thinking that it's just the arts, that I'm
Yes.
not a creative person because
Mhm.
I'm not good at art or music or writing or anything. And I
Mhm.
used to do that too, which I understood that it is a way of living and it's within each
Mhm.
one of us. And
Yes.
what's your thoughts about this? That if
Mhm.
someone is thinking that I don't have it within me, everyone else is much more creative, what would you say to that?
Well, the first thing I would address, I think, is the self-talk. I would say, "Oh, who told you that you're not creative? It might not be true." And then I have in my books, I have lots, especially in my book on memoir writing, I have lots of exercises in which I say, try this and see where it takes you. So I might have a visualization exercise. I'll say, you're going on a walk. This is what you see. These are the people you meet. And because it's just a silly exercise, many of my students to this day say, "Oh, this is great! Oh yeah, I met this person. I met that. Oh, that's terrific!" And at the end of it, they look at it and say, "I've created a story. I've never created a story before, and it's a really funny story." And when they share it in the class, if they choose to share it, people say, "That's really good. You should write a bit more." And that's the famous phrase, can you write a bit more? Not do another one, but can you write a little bit more and just push it a little further? And this is one way that people rediscover that they have more creativity than they think. And occasionally, it can be uh, a little difficult to deal with. There was in one of my classes, we were supposed to hand in papers, and they were all supposed to be typed. Okay, typed papers or written on a computer or whatever, as long as it was typeface. And there was this one young woman, and she insisted on writing, handwriting with a quill pen, a dip quill pen, like in the 17th century, handwriting, beautiful calligraphy on paper, which she had specially prepared to look at it as if it were from the 17th century, because we were writing about Shakespeare. So she said, "This is what you have to do." And I looked at this and I thought, this, you're supposed to do this. And then I started reading and I thought, this is what she needs in order to get into thinking and feeling what the plays of Shakespeare were about. So, I sat back and said, this is wonderful. It's not exactly what I asked for, but please keep doing it. And I was delighted that she had gone against all the rules to do the things she wanted to do because it enabled her to write the best possible papers that she could. So sometimes we just have to do it that way.
Yeah, that is beautiful. She was truly living into it, and
Yes, she was.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is beautiful. I also love that you were mentioning about the problem solving, that
Mm,
creativity enhances in that way
mhm.
everything in our how we think about and broadens our thinking. So it really does affect all over like our experience of life and how we perceive
Does.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Yeah, I know this firsthand because I did my doctoral degree. I wrote an academic thesis of it was 400 pages, and I thought I had to do it the way that it was expected. And I did it, and it was the driest thing you've ever read in your life. It was dull. So I then had to relearn that there was a voice within me and a creativity within me that really wanted to do things differently. So I learned this the hard way.
love that. Love that. Well, you mentioned that it was a dry book. Which one of your books is the one that you feel that has most and is the opposite of it?
Well, um, there are two that, well, I love them all really.
Mm.
It sounds vain, but I think you do love your own book. Well, I'm sure you love your book, for instance. I love it too.
We should love them because we are also examples of everyone loving their own work, right? So,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
love
Yes.
it.
Yeah. You love it, you recognize it's not perfect, but you love it anyway, like a child. You know. So yeah, to answer your question, I really, really like my book, Write Your Memoir, because that's specifically about looking inward in order to discover what needs to be expressed. And that's been very useful to quite a few people. That's what they tell me. So I'm pleased with it and I'm proud of it. I think one of the ones that I hold very close to my heart, which probably would seem like an odd choice, is my book on the Grimm brothers' tales, which is called the Grimm brothers. It's called Princes, Frogs, and Ugly Sisters: The Grimm Brothers' Healing Tales. Because I think these tales have a great depth to them. The original tales, not the ones that Disney puts out. The original tales have great depth and ask us to think and ask us to mull them over. And when we do so, we can heal some of the less healthy parts of ourselves. And the tales address family dynamics, difficulties with parents of each sex or parents together, and how one deals with the problem of evil, how one deals with the problem of change. These are powerful, powerful tales. That's one of my favorites, but I love them all.
Love your answer. And you know that the interview that I saw you was
Hmm.
when I first met you was when I was listening to that when you were talking, and that got my interest so much because I had never heard anyone talk about the Grimm brothers, their stories, because I grew up with them too, and I read them to my sons.
Yes.
But then when you were mentioning how they are so different from what they are portrayed, like the original
Hmm.
ones, that really got my attention. So good that you
Mm.
wrote it because
Oh,
we wouldn't be
perfect.
here otherwise.
We wouldn't. We wouldn't. So you can
No.
see why it's one of my favorite books.
Yeah, now I know.
Now you know. Uh,
Oh, Alan,
oh,
are you ready for? I have a fun little segment that I'm
okay.
gonna
I'm
do
ready.
with
I'm
you.
ready. I'm ready.
All right. I am going to ask you to answer with just one word. If you have to use two, then
Mhm.
that's fine. But I'm
Mhm.
going to read some questions, and I want you
Mhm.
to just give the first thing that comes to mind
Oh,
as an
boy.
answer. So we
Okay.
get to know you a little bit better in a fun way with just one word. All right.
Hmm.
A sound that you love.
Oh, I think the sound of um, distant piano music.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good one. A favorite season.
Oh, autumn, really. It has to be autumn. Yeah.
Love it. An annoying habit.
Oh, an annoying habit is to when people pick their noses. No, no, I admit I have been known to pick my nose, but when I see other people doing it, it's like, ooh,
It's seeing the other ones
let's
do
see
it.
the other one.
uh, uh, feel good movie.
Oh, feel good movie. Golly, there are so many that have made me feel good. Um, uh, there is an Italian movie which maybe not many people know uh, called Amarcord, which is about remembering Italy in the 1930s, just before it all went to pieces. That's one of my favorites. A movie that somebody might recognize today would be, oh, I think Casablanca. Casablanca. You know Casablanca, I think.
I know it, but I don't in that way. Don't know it.
Oh,
Yeah, but it
oh, it's a,
doesn't matter. I'm sure
yeah.
there's plenty who know it. I
Mhm.
should know it, but I know it with name and I know how the poster looks like, but I haven't seen
Yeah.
that.
Well, it's a fun movie. It's it's of its time, and there's some sort of propaganda in there, but it's also about how do you deal with life when things go wrong, when there's evil. How do you deal with evil? That's a big question. So I like it for that, and it's very elegantly done.
Good. I have to see it.
Well,
All right, we go to the next one.
yes, please.
A special place from childhood.
Oh, I think the special place from childhood would have to be um, near the place where I was born, which is in England, a place called Beckford in Worcestershire. And there is a lovely church there, quite a large church in a tiny village, and it's beautifully peaceful.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
that's a favorite place.
I love that. Thank you
Mm.
for sharing. A person that inspires you.
Oh, plenty of people inspire. Well, you inspire me. My grandchildren inspire me. They're always trying new things, and I'm going, wow, I didn't think of that. But a grown up who inspires me. I think I'm probably most inspired by people who don't give up. people who stick with it no matter what. And sometimes they may have character flaws that we'd rather they didn't, but that tremendous determination to stay with things, that really, even when things get very, very bad. So people like Gandhi, for instance, to name one, who didn't give up despite everything. Of course, we also have people like J.K. Rowling, who did the Harry Potter series,
Mm.
who, before she became famous, nearly gave up, but she didn't. And so those stories are really powerful to me. And then there are the individual stories of some of the people that I've worked with who came very, very close to giving up and then didn't.
Mm.
Something changed. And sometimes they don't even really know what changed, but something did. And they didn't give up. So, long answer to a short question. Sorry, are these too long,
No,
Sana?
no, don't at all. I love them. They've been all beautiful. It's so nice to hear this from you. A dream travel destination.
Oh, well, when I was a teenager, I lived in Sardinia for a while, and I haven't been back since I was about 20. I would love to go back there.
Mm.
There's always something has got in the way. I felt very attuned to that place. I had no idea why, but it was magical to me.
Oh, love it. Well, one day you get back.
One day, yes, I must get on with that. Yeah.
A chore that you would like to outsource.
Oh, chores. Well, here's the thing. I don't actually mind chores because they remind me you have to take the trash out, you have to do the dishes, you have to sweep the floor. But I have outsourced the dusting
Okay.
because when I start dusting, I start sneezing, and I'm really, I'm just useless at dusting. So I have outsourced that. There's a lady who comes every couple of weeks and she does the dusting, and I'm very grateful to her.
Oh, I bet you are. I love that. All right. A quality of a good leader.
Oh, I think mercy.
Mm.
I think we today, especially in the United States, people think a leader is somebody who is strong and determined and all that rubbish. I think a real leader has the strength to be merciful and see what's happening as opposed to smashing the opposition. Mercy, yeah.
Mm. Beautiful answer.
Mm.
Finally,
Oh,
something that moves you to tears.
moves me to tears. Well, conversations like this. I mean, I admit I'm doing most of the talking, but I feel there's a real connection happening as there was 8 years ago. And
Mm.
that I find extremely moving. And when I'm talking to people I know well or don't know that well, and I feel that connection,
Mm.
that's very moving. Yes, sunsets and moon rises and all sorts of things, those are moving too, but that connection, oh, that's magic.
Human connection.
Mm,
Yeah.
definitely.
Love your answers. You did well. You were the first one who had to go through this.
They're good questions, Sana. They're very
I
good
loved
questions.
hearing this. I loved hearing. It was for me a gift to hear this because I love knowing these kind of things of a person. And we now
Oh,
everyone knows.
now everyone knows this. It's out there.
uh, Alan, what is part of your best is yet to come and why?
Well, what I've discovered as I've got older is, of course, the usual things that happen. Things start to ache. You can't lift two grandchildren at the same time without doing damage to your back or whatever. That's getting older. That's that's the trouble of getting older. But the benefit of getting older is that suddenly you've got all of this lifetime of stuff that, if you're lucky, you've thought about and it enables you to see things in more depth. So I'm less reactive than I was. I used to be very reactive. Oh, this is the case, and that's the answer. And getting to the point where you say, oh, this is the case? Oh, let's explore what the case is and find out what the answer might be. And that's a real benefit. It makes for a much richer world. It makes for a much better world. It makes for a world where people don't feel under pressure to conform to something. And it's made all the difference. The best is yet to come. Yes, I heartily believe that as I get older, I get just a little bit wiser, and I hope a little bit humbler every day, so that I'm not in that same place of, oh, I have to give an answer. Oh, I have to get this right. So that's the best is yet to come. There is more, and it's good.
Beautiful answer. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, well,
Alan, how can anyone who is listening now, seeing this
hmm.
conversation with you, how can anyone who wants to learn more from you, perhaps read one of your books, looks into them, how can they find you?
Oh, I'm easily found. Uh, my website is Alan Hunter, which is ALLAN Hunter, all one word, .net. Don't go to a .com, it's somebody else. Uh, AlanHunter.net. There you'll find description, well, you'll find some pictures and so on. You'll find descriptions of what I do in my counseling and my coaching. I work with writers of all kinds, especially memoirists. And you'll also find links to all my books. There are 13 of those with descriptions, and all of those books are available on Amazon. So that's a very easy way to find me. There is a contact tab. Anyone who wants to write to me can write to me that way, as you know, of course. So that's the easiest way to find me. If you want to go to YouTube, look for Alan G. Hunter. I put my middle initial in there just to differentiate me from all the other Alan Hunters in the world. And like you'll see me chatting away on various topics on YouTube, and that's even more direct, you might say. So that's how some of those are listed on my website. Not all of them, though. There's an awful lot of them. So I just listed a few. But those are the ways to contact me. Pretty easy.
Amazing. And I can also I will put the link that you named, I
Oh,
would put it in the YouTube comments
yeah.
too. So
That would be the best of them all. Thank you, Sana. That would be great.
absolutely, no problem at all. My pleasure.
Mm.
I am so happy to have had this time with you, Alan. It's been such a gift to, after all these years we have had in contact before, to a little while ago, actually. But to have this time with you, it's always a gift, and you have so much amazing wisdom, and it's so inspiring. And I love your work, and I love who you are and what you do. So
Well,
it's
you have amazing wisdom too, and I must hand that back to you. What you did in our work together all that time ago was to contact your own inner knowing, and now you're bringing it to other people. How beautiful is that? So yes, you're doing the good work. Thank you for being you.
Thank you. It's super beautiful, I think.
So yes.
Finally, I would
Mm,
love for you to, if you have feel guided intuitively to just have the final words of
mm,
wisdom, words of inspiration that you feel that you want to close this
mm,
beautiful
mm,
conversation with, to the viewer, that you feel
mm,
that I want to say this to anyone
mm.
listening.
Well, I can certainly say some things there. Um, Most people don't listen to themselves. They don't listen to their intuitions. They don't listen to their gut that says, do this, or I can't bear this. Listen to that. It may tell you that you need to do something completely different, in which case, don't just jump up and say, I'm resigning my job, I'm leaving the country, I'm going to Hawaii. Listen to what it's telling you and then listen to what it tells you next. Because sometimes leaving a job is just the surface. What really needs to change is one's attitude to the job, is one's attitude to one's career. You see how the two levels are? So listen to yourself. I'll tell you, oh, if I may, I'll tell you an example of that. Sometimes when I work with people, um, uh, people who feel disappointed in love, I say, well, write down the attributes of your ideal partner. And they'll say something like, you must be tall, you must have blue eyes, you must be rich, or he or she must be rich. And I let them write. And I pause and say, what do these physical attributes correspond to in terms of the person? And they say, oh, blue eyes. Well, they have to be kind eyes. Oh, okay. Okay. It has to be rich. Well, he has to be, or she has to be responsible about things, especially money. And I'm saying, oh, look, here's the shift from the physical to the spiritual. And when we get into the spiritual, we forget, of course, what a person looks like, because that's not as important anymore. It's the internal qualities. We can't get there if we don't listen to ourselves. So take the time, I would say to everybody, listen to yourself.
Beautiful. The most
That's what I do.
important place to listen to.
It certainly
Yourself.
does.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you,
Um,
Sana. This has been a delight. I hope your listeners will be suitably happy, as I am.
yes, absolutely. Me too. And I want to say now also thank you for anyone who's taken time to watch this first episode of The Best Is Yet to Come with my amazing friend, Alan Hunter. And do contact him and look into his work because, as you can see, he's amazing. And I will finally just say, I have a phrase I'm going to say, and that is that remember that it's all within you
Mhm.
and that you got this and that your best is yet to come.
Mhm. Very good to remember that. Yeah.
Absolutely. We need it, all of us, every day.
That's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sana.